Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call the Tippecanoe County Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, June 5th to order. Would you please rise and join me for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is the approval of the minutes from our last meeting.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes from the May 15th regular meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. And I'm sorry, I missed the ones from a special meeting on May 22nd.
I'll make a motion. We approve those minutes as well.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the May 22nd meeting minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. Paula, accounts payable.
Mr. President, I would like to recommend the claims from May 17th, 2023 through June 5th, 2023 be approved without exception.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And payroll?
Mr. President, I would also like to recommend the payroll dated May 26, 2023 be approved without exception.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I'm going to change up the order of business today and move the Highway Department just ahead of area plan. Stu?
Thank you. Doug, I think we have some bids.
Yeah. First bid is HIS Constructors.
Stu, while he's doing that, do you want to talk about the project?
Wait, sorry. These are bids for the construction of a roundabout at Eppingham and Concord Road. It improves traffic flow, bends crossing and all of the congestion out there, and allows access to the new development at Concord South. It's a traffic improvement roundabout project.
So the total bid of the HIS submission is $2,393,362. And then the second bid is from Atlas Excavating. With a grand total bid of $2,630,315. I think those are the only two bids, and I think the hope is to consider, take them under advisement now and perhaps approve them at the end of the meeting if everything checks out. And so if that's the will of the commissioners, you'd want a motion to take them under advisement.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to take the bids under advisement. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We hear ordinance 2023-11-CM, Trinitas Development.
Second.
Petitioner or Mr. Hiddle?
Is that for, sorry. Kevin Riley for the petitioner, Trinitas Development, requesting a continuance today to give the petitioner some additional time to evaluate how it wants to move forward.
Yeah, I'm assuming that most of the people in the audience are here for this case, and it has been continued twice. Could everybody that's here for this particular case raise your hand? Okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, but you're here for the Trinitas case, correct? Okay. Yeah, I think I have an issue with continuing it for a third time myself, so.
Same here.
And would we require a motion to continue then?
Yeah, if you wanted to continue it, somebody'd have to make a motion and second.
Okay, do we have a motion to continue?
Then I would respectfully withdraw our petition.
Okay.
And then unless there's some objection or some reason, I think you regard it as withdrawn and you wouldn't have anything to act on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Riley.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
So in simple terms for the audience, he's withdrawn the petition, therefore it dies. So, and we thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Feel free to stay.
Mr. Hiddle, when was the last time somebody applauded before you took the podium?
Long time. Mr. President, I move we hear ordinance 2023-14-CM, Series Solutions AA to I3.
Oh, second. Sorry.
Mr. Hiddle? Yeah. May want to wait just a second.
Well, you did count it going out the door. I could have counted this side, you could have counted that side.
Thank you. David Hiddle with the Area Plan Commission. Case Z-2876 from Series Solutions Cooperative. This is a request to rezone 4.72 acres from AA, which is select agricultural, to I3, which is heavy industrial. This is a request essentially to provide for a modest expansion of an existing agricultural fuel storage and distribution facility. The original request was to rezone 10 acres, but the applicants determined that they could do what they want to do as far as this expansion with a lesser area, so they pared it down to 4.72 to be added to their existing 3+ acre site. Staff is comfortable with this. We recommended support at the APC hearing, and it was unanimously approved by the Area Plan Commission on May 17th with no objections from the public. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I just had one question as I was going through it. Requires a type C buffer yard, 30 feet width, and back in 2007, it's supposed to have that, and it still hasn't happened. Is that going to be somewhat enforced, or needs to be somewhat enforced? Or?
Yeah, actually, that they are submitting a variance,
Okay.
and the variance initially did not include the original site and the lack of actually a few things, paved parking. So we're going to let them know they need to incorporate the variance for the whole site, account for everything that needs a variance, and then bring that to the BZA.
Okay.
Okay, any questions for Director Hiddle?
Petitioner.
Yeah. Is the petitioner present?
Briefly, good morning. Chris Shellman of Gutwein Law here on behalf of Series Solutions. The request is a modest request to permit the expansion and the construction of a facility to service Series' own trucks and delivery trucks. They'll have a small office on site, about 3,200 square feet, in an agricultural pole building. But essentially, the facility is designed not to serve the outside, but only facilitate the repair and maintenance on their truck fleet. To answer what Mr. Hiddle alluded to, the petition has already been amended to cover the existing site on the variance side. But Series is looking at purchasing that area, and the goal with the buffer yard would be to preserve it and continue it in row crop production for all the areas that we don't need. We'd be happy to answer any other specific questions that you may have.
Any questions from petitioner?
No.
Jennifer? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyone from the public like to comment on this? Seeing none?
Murtaugh,
Yes.
Byers,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-14 CM passes 3-0.
Mr. President, I move we hear ordinance 2023-15-CM, Ramsey Masquerine, NB to R1.
Second.
Thank you, David Hiddle, Area Plan Commission. This is a request to rezone a little under 10 acres, about actually 9.52 acres from NB, which is neighborhood business, to R1, which is low-density, single-family dwelling district. This was rezoned from R1 to MB in 2007 with the idea that this could be a commercial node serving the area. It never developed in that way. It was rezoned against the comprehensive plan, which is the 1998 Battleground Plan, which recommends residential use for this property. By the way, this lot is not in the town of Battleground, but it's covered by their plan. So in staff's eyes, this is a corrective rezoning, downzoning from NB to R1 for eventual residential development. We're supportive, and the rezone was approved or recommended for approval unanimously by the Plan Commission on May 17th. Answer any questions you might have.
David, will access to these properties be from Midnight Drive? Do you think?
Yes.
Okay. And there's,
It could only be from Midnight Drive.
okay, okay. Oh, I see, it's drawn on there, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a stub.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions for the Director? Is the petitioner present? If you would like to step to the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Ravi Masquerine. I would like to rezone this from NB to R1. It is best suited for R1 because the only access to this property is through Midnight Drive. And there is a need in that area for a residential housing. So.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Masquerine?
Nope, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Would anyone from the public like to comment on the rezone? Seeing none?
Brown,
Yes.
Byers,
Yes.
Murtaugh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-15 CM passes 3-0.
Thank you. Next order of business, Health Department. Dr. Loomis.
Good morning.
Morning. Looks like we have two things on the agenda, a professional service agreement for Gateway to Hope first.
Yeah, that's Rhonda Stein. I'm bringing her on as a contract employee for Gateway to Hope. I think she'll be an incredible addition to the program. Having lost her son and working with these young people will be an asset not only to the program but to the participants that are in the program.
And what is the contract for? What kind of services?
She's going to be a recovery coach. She's going to be involved in helping with, the recovery, talking with them, getting them into the recovery cafe, talking about treatment, which I might add, in the 3 weeks that we've been open, we've already got 8 participants in Suboxone treatment, which is a number that I never thought we would have in a year. So I'm really very surprised at that, very pleased.
And just because I know it's a sensitive topic, the services described in Exhibit A specify that this position does not include receiving or distributing syringes or related material, and does not include inputting data into the state computer system.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move that we approve this contract with Rhonda Stein as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. And next up, the Indiana Health Information Exchange Network contract.
Yes, that's the system that will allow the health department to actually look up anybody who's in the system to try to streamline some of the areas that we're kind of mired down in, particularly waiting days for medical information from the hospitals or the surrounding hospitals or even providers. We'll be able to have access to this information immediately. It's a very, I think it's a solid contract, very minimal cost, and we can probably be up and running within a few months of you guys agreeing to the contract. It will really bring us, like I said last time, will bring us closer to the 20th century and dealing with medical issues as they come up.
Okay, any questions for Dr. Loomis?
And I might add that I'll have the gatekeeper capability on this, so that anybody that is added to the system will have to follow strict HIPAA guidelines, and we'll lay those out for each person as I add them onto the system.
I just have a question. Most of, like, this document has mentioned Tippecanoe County Health Department. Should that be, like the signature lines and everything, should it be?
I think it's okay as the health department. I
Okay.
think just you'd approve the agreement, and then I think Dr. Loomis actually signs the contract.
Okay. Okay. Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve the Indiana Network for Patient Care Subscription Agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agreement as submitted. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Doctor. Jennifer?
At your last meeting, I presented various percentage increase in salary scenarios for the 2024 budget and was asking today for a recommendation in order to prepare the salary statements for all the departments and all of the positions. And I understand that according to the budget schedule, you could also approve any new positions or changes in positions, but that you would like to hold off on that for now and have further discussions. So if you have a salary recommendation, that would be great.
I will make a motion that we approve a recommendation of 5% for 2024 salaries.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for 5%. Any further discussion?
I think something else we can possibly say, it doesn't look like our health premiums are going to be going up either, so we are going to help our employees that direction also.
Okay. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. Animal shelter contract.
All right, we have one contract.
I
And it,
think it's open bids.
oh, is it first? I'm sorry.
Yeah. And it looks like,
Oh,
there's one bid
All right, sorry.
from Midmark Corp. With a total, if I'm reading the table correctly, of $844,091.
Okay, so we take these under advisement too?
I think so.
no, that was the only one.
Yeah, it was the only one.
Mr. President, I move that we take this bid under advisement.
Second.
We have a motion to take the bid that was just opened under advisement. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion passes.
Okay, and the contract we have for the animal shelter is from Central Indiana Glass and Glazing. for aluminum doors, frames, and storefront in the amount of $137,500. I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract with Central Indiana Glass and Glazing, Inc. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. It's an amendment to the Do It contract.
And this
No,
one's
that's-
actually,
Schneider.
Right on, yeah.
this one's actually two different but related things. There's a First Amendment to an existing agreement that, I don't know if Cindy's around and wants to explain it, but
Cindy?
But one amends an existing contract. I think there was some migration services, if I remember right, that they finished, and there was some money left on the contract, and so it amend the existing one for some,
Yeah, the
sort of
First
shift the
Amendment,
services.
we had time left over that I believe it was for legacy data migration. We haven't had any requests for it, and I've seen no interest in anyone moving any legacy data. So the First Amendment is to basically convert those hours to workable hours for work that we actually need done, which is like new workflows, additions to permitting. We have people wanting things added, things changed, corrected, data being polished up. Of course, obviously more widespread usage. We've got extra other people, other departments now requesting it be used for optional things besides just permitting. So that would continue on into the professional services agreement, which would be a 2-year agreement, which would allow us to have hours to get that work done, as well as training for the IT staff, so that hopefully in the future, we have a little more training on this end of it and in the permitting process, and we can resolve more issues on site here rather than having to continue with services.
And so I was just trying to flag, there's two things, but the First Amendment and the professional services agreement basically are going to the same types of services, so you could approve those both in the same motion if you wanted.
And I did notice in the agreement, it says pricing is valid through May 31st. I'm assuming they'll still honor it. Okay.
They will. They were aware that we kind of just barely missed it on the last commissioners' meeting, so.
Okay.
And I have assurances in email from them that they will be flexible on those hours to, up till August, because it took us a little longer to get it in front of you. So they're willing to work with us on that.
Okay. Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we approve this agreement with Schneider as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Next up is an agreement, or an addendum, service addendum with Tyson Krupp for elevator work.
Yes, it's to add the elevator at our currently newly built Sheriff's Annex facility to our current contract. So it's addendum to that, under the same terms that we're currently under with them.
Mr. President, I move that we approve this contract with TK Elevator for the additional elevator we're adding.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the addendum. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, and the motion passes. Next, we have a professional engineering services contract with Wet Environmental Engineering Services, but before I get to that, I want to recognize some folks that are in the audience today who have worked tirelessly on a project to hopefully bring wastewater services to northeastern Tippecanoe County. This is a steering committee that's worked behind the scenes and got us to where we are today. It's actually a milestone for us. It means the project will be moving forward, at least the study. We're not going to put shovels in the ground just yet, but I want to recognize, and I know some of you are here today, Ron Tull, Bill and Kay Miller, Brian Loynes, Jeff Rusk, John DeLong, Jeff Cook, Dale Nicholson, Dee Patterson, and Ken Mueller. Again, we know where we came from on the project, we know where we want to go, and I appreciate all the work that you have done with the steering committee and the work that you will do as we move forward. So with that,
And what's the dollar amount?
it is $42,300, if I remember right.
Okay, I'll make the motion. We approve the contract with Wet Engineering as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract as submitted. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes. Good morning, Sharon.
Good morning. I'd like to ask permission for the Sheriff's Office to apply for funding from ICGI to participate in the Comprehensive Highway Injury Reduction Program, to partner with other local law enforcement agencies for this grant.
Mr. President, I move we grant permission to apply as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant permission to apply. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes.
And I would also like to ask permission for the Commissioner's Office to apply for funding from the Department of Transportation Federal Highway Administration for the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Discretionary Grant Program.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We grant permission to apply as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant permission to apply. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
And grants to accept this month, we'd like to ask for the Health Department to receive the $228,153.50 from the Indiana Department of Health for the supplemental immunization funding.
Mr. President, I move we grant permission to accept for the Health Department.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
And the Health Department also received a $57,000 continuation from the Indiana Department of Health for their immunization grant.
I'll make the motion. We grant permission to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant permission to accept. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes.
The final health grant received this month was $33,576 from Indiana Department of Health for the continuation of the FEMA program.
Mr. President, move we grant permission to accept as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion passes.
And Youth Services has two grants. One is the Juvenile Community Correction Grant from Indiana Department of Corrections in the amount of $271,631 for the continuation of their services in Tippecanoe County.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We grant permission to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
And Youth Services received their fiscal year 23-24 JDAI grant from the Indiana Department of Corrections in the amount of $70,000 to continue Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative programming, to continue offering Teen Brain programming, as well as Understanding My Teen Brain and Juvenile Justice Jeopardy, community engagement, and school-based initiatives.
Mr. President, I move we grant permission to accept this for Youth Services.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
My final request is for a contract with Carry Home with Willowstone for meeting spaces that they're using for their parent program. The document should be in there, signed by both Willowstone as well as Rebecca, and Doug did get to, someone at Doug's office got to review that.
Yeah, I took a look. I wasn't entirely sure you all even needed to approve it, but they're just taking space for a couple of days, I think.
Okay. Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We approve that MOU contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any unfinished or new business?
I don't know if Stu is back.
Stu or Mike back, yeah.
Are they still in the review process? Okay. Do you want to go through the rest of it?
Yeah, we have reports on file from the Building Commission and Weights and Measures. Those will be available in our office immediately following the meeting. And do we have any public comment? Good morning.
Are you ready to sing?
They said Stu was going to be about another 15 minutes. Can you fill that entire time is the question.
Only we would have known we could have prepared a routine.
Yeah, we do have camp later this week. I'm Megan Skiba. I'm one of the 4-H educators in the Extension office, and we just want to welcome our 3 4-H summer interns. They started at the end of May, and they'll be with us until the start of August, and they're going to help us with the fair and our 4-H judging and everything that happens between now and then. So you'll probably see them around, especially at the fair. I was going to introduce them, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves. You guys want to say your name? Where you go to school?
Okay. I'm Lauren Franskowiak. I go to Ball State. I'm Hannah Hart, and I go to Purdue.
I'm Rihanna Lowry. I'm an Ag Ed senior at Purdue.
Welcome. It's good to have you on board.
In front of you. Yeah, I'm just signing names.
Good morning. We have a lot of new staff coming, which is exciting. On over, Amanda. I have the honor of introducing you to Amanda Grockner. She is our new program assistant. She'll be working primarily on virtual programming and marketing and assisting in all the program areas. So we're excited. Today's our first day.
Awesome.
So,
Hello.
And welcome to you as well.
thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Stu, your timing is near perfect.
All right, 112 items in both bids. A lot of math. So we have reviewed both bids and found no math, in the low bid, we found no mathematical errors, and all the items seem to be in order to award to HIS contractors their bid in the amount of $2,393,362.
I'll make the motion that we approve that, or accept that bid, I should say.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the bid. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And the motion passes.
Thank you very much. We'll get a notice to proceed on today.
Okay, well,
Ask for any more public comment.
anyone else from the public like to comment?
Move to adjourn.
We are adjourned.